What's up, guys? Welcome back to YouTube today. It's going to be a little bit of a different setting if you haven't noticed already, and it's going to be a little bit of a different video for today. Players Cup 4 has started. I am out of town. I'm at a relative's place. I am still filming because I wanted to honor my commitment of Monday, Wednesday, Friday videos. Tuesday, Thursday might be some shorts here and there, but today's video is going to be all about Players Cup 4 and prep. It won't be a lot of deck lists or anything like that because you can continue to get the deck lists from my existing videos that have already been up. So grab those lists. A lot of those are unchanged. Play.limitless.tcg has a lot of decks already for you as well. A lot of other content creators have put out deck lists as well on a day-to-day basis. Go grab them from them. Azul GG, Tricky Jim, Celios, all these amazing content creators, Omnipoke, go show them some love. We're going to be talking about how to prepare for Players Cup 3 and how to really approach what you're doing. So let's jump right into it. So what to expect. For those of you coming into Players Cup 4, if you have logged onto your account at any given point between January 16th and April 16th, 50 keys have been added to your account. Now these keys will show up in the events queue. And at the events queue, you can go and queue up for a tournament rep queue, or like Players Cup qualifier queue. I don't remember the exact name of the tournament, but it's a separate queue that uses keys as opposed to the coins or tickets you've been used to seeing. Now you have 50 keys. Every player gets 50 keys to play with, and you have 1 month time span. So on May 26th at 2 Eastern, I believe, or 11 Pacific, the keys are done. The leaderboard is locked. Everything is there. You can search through the leaderboards for Players Cup, and you can also use HJ Julian's data tracker that he's implemented. It's really cool. You can see everybody. You can look at their rep. You can look at how they've been progressing through the tournament. It's really cool. So there's 8-man brackets each time. Boom, 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 boom. Best of one, you win. Top 4 gets 1 rep. Second place gets 3 rep. Winner gets 5 reps. Simple as that. Bottom 4, you get 0. So don't lose the first round, and you're walking out with something at the very least. Now, how does this compare to ladder versus a tournament? I'm sure a lot of you are versed in playing ladder, and that's something you probably have known very well for a very long time. Ladder games are going to somewhat translate a bit too, because a lot of players from ladder will be playing. It's not just going to be entirely competitive players, so you can expect to see decks from anywhere to anything. Like I played one key today, and I played against a Cramorant VMAX Porygon deck in the finals of mine, so a little bit crazy there, but you can see any kind of deck and any kind of thing show up. Now, I like to shoot for 2 rep average to be safe in any of the regions. If you're in Oceania, it's top 128, and the other 3 regions, the top 256 will move on to a phase 2, which I'll explain in a second. Now, when this comes into play, how should you approach it? I believe for Players Cup 3, 93 was safe for NA, about 86 was safe for Europe. I don't know the Latin American cutoff, and for Oceania, I believe it was like very low. The player base is much lower there in terms of populace, but NA and Europe have a lot more players, and a lot of people are competing, and it's being more and more, people are playing every time. So you should shoot for 2 rep average on key. So even if you're a little bit behind or a little bit off pace, don't get too worried. You can get a hot streak somewhere or a bad streak somewhere. I had a streak where I had like 6 keys where I went straight finals, and like during Players Cup 2, I had my last 10 keys. I made finals at every single key to actually qualify because I didn't think I could qualify, and I actually went on an absolute tear to make it. So you should shoot for about 2 rep average. 100 has always been safe historically, so go for it. Early versus late, there isn't really much of a difference whether you try to get your keys out early or late. The only thing that is the meta is going to develop, and anyone who's got some sort of a secret deck or something spicy, it'll usually come to the limelight in the first couple of days because they want to grind. Usually people will save that for the phase 2 because a lot of players can qualify with what's cut and dry because you're playing a best of one format into like something unknown really. So it doesn't matter when you play, just get your keys done, make sure you pace yourself. How do you pick? How do you build a deck? So you can switch decks a bunch throughout the process. Just make sure you pick a deck that you like and you know better than your opponent because it's a best of one. So anything could happen. So we'll talk about that more in a little bit. But what is phase 2? So phase 1 is this phase right here where everyone gets to compete, everyone gets keys, and the top 256 players from each region get to move on to the next stage. What is phase 2? Phase 2 will then take the top 256 players from the 3 regions I mentioned prior to this, and the 128 from the Oceania region, and all these players will play 9 rounds of Swiss, or I believe 8 rounds of Swiss for Oceania, down to 16 players. A top 16 cut will then be taken from those Swiss players, and those players will battle out in a double elimination bracket to determine our top 4 contestants representing each region. And once those 16 contestants have been named, then we will go to a global finals where all these 16 players will then play in a double elimination bracket usually featuring the new set, which will be Chilling Rain for us. So until then, you don't have to worry about it if you get there, and you'll have to feature the new set. And from then on, you get to kind of play for money. If you make it to global, you're automatically guaranteed money, no matter if you don't even win a single game. First place, I believe, gets $5,000 US. I'm not entirely sure. I looked this up earlier. I forgot. I'm sorry. But you should be shooting for that if you're competing. Now, here's some of my top tips going in. Be comfortable with your deck of choice. So make sure you know your deck in and out. Be the master of your own deck. Um, just know what your deck can do, and that goes a long way better than trying to beat the metagame of a million players playing, because there's going to be so many people playing and so many people are going to bring whatever decks they want. So you don't really have to like think about all of that when you're picking a deck. Just kind of pick what you're good at for the most part. Like that's the most important thing. Pick what you're good at, and that'll kind of take you a long way. Pick and choose the best time for you to play. So for me, I like to play in the evenings after work, sometime like after dinner when I'm nice and situated. I'm nice and in a good mindset to just zone in and play. Maybe for you that's not the case. Maybe the later it gets, the more tired you get. So make sure you don't want to kind of play at an unoptimal time for yourself. Remember to hydrate. Remember to eat food. Um, I cannot stress this enough. Just because you want to be drinking water and eating food just like you would at an event. You don't want to be like queuing up for just one more, and slowly like burning yourself out. Get up, take a walk, stretch for a second in between keys. It's not a race. You have a month, 50 keys. Like each key, even if you make finals every single time, takes about 45 minutes if you make finals every single time to an hour. So you have that time. You have 50 hours in a month. You have that time. You have 50 hours in 3 days. You have that time. Just take a breather, take a lap, come back. That's all I'm saying. Don't play when you're tilted. That's one of the most best things I can advise. I've had times when I've lost one in my first round due to just bad luck or variance, and I'll go into the second one. I'll queue up for a second time, it'll happen again. I'll queue up a third time, it'll happen again. I'm now tilted, so even if it's not actually happening, in my mind, that's the reason I'm losing. And then you're just going down this rabbit hole of burning these keys for no reason. And all of a sudden, things don't end the way you want them to end. So every key matters at the end of the day when you're getting, even if it's a 1 rep versus 0, that's a huge difference. 3 rep versus 1 is even bigger. And then the 5 versus 3 is also pretty big. So make sure you just can change those zeros into ones, those ones into threes, and that will add up in the long run. Remember to pace yourself. You don't have to use all your keys in the first 2 days. There are a couple of people who are pretty much already done with their keys, and we're about a day in. So I like to use 5 keys most per day, unless I'm on a super heater. Like say I play all 5 and I win all 5, maybe I play a sixth. But more, I set myself to 5 keys a day max, unless I'm on a time crunch. So you can do something like that for yourself as well. It's like 2 keys a day from today until May 26th. You can get all 50 of your keys done in a very timely manner with time to spare. If you want to play 3 on a day, you can. If you want to play 1 on a day, you can. Just know that you want to use all your keys. You can switch up decks whenever. So that's kind of something I preach. Don't like limit yourself to a certain deck. Don't be like just because you're maybe a huge Luke Metal player, but everyone's playing Fire. Uh, it might be a time to switch up from Luke Metal to like something else, like Pikarom, for example. Just see how it takes you for a tournament. If you like it, and you keep going. Just stack them up. Now, I always say know how to approach your bad matchups, because if you know how to approach your bad matchups and tech correctly going into these matchups, like for example, Rapid Strike Urshifu playing Jirachi and Mimikyu, Jirachi GX and Mimikyu gives you a really good shot against Pikarom with Mewtwo if they're not playing Stealthy Hood, because you can kind of uh, punish their Mewtwo GX, because that's the only real way they have to beat you. So you can punish that using your tech cards, and the best of one closed decklist format, your opponents won't know these things. Now, I'm not going to tell you guys what decks to pick, what decks to play, because there's so many options and so many things to play from and pick from. So all I'm going to say is good luck, be focused, keep the correct mindset going in, and hopefully I see you guys in phase 2. Everyone, good luck. I mean, leave as many questions you want in the comments below. I'll answer every single one. I make that promise right now. I'll answer every single question in the comments below. So please ask me any questions you have about PC4. It's about decks, lists. Please let me know if you want me to cover any decks coming up, so I can give you guys a better insight on what you should be preparing for heading into PC4 as well. Um, I've only played 1 key so far because I've been out of town, but I will try to play more as we go. I will try to stream on Twitch. But thank you guys all for coming. be sure to like, be sure to subscribe, be sure to stay tuned for more content. We're going to keep rolling the ball like this, but just keep in mind that everyone can qualify. Everyone's on equal footing, and sometimes the players who we least expect to qualify will. So obviously, good luck, and I hope you guys all do well.